Hi, I'm Alex. I am a Norwegian-British cinematographer who lives in London. Being a freelancer in London can sometimes be quite busy, but sometimes it's not busy at all. I used to be a handball player, and to get better at handball you had to practice 4 to 5 times a week, and there would be games on the weekends. So I've decided to start practicing my cinematography, honing my craft, if you will. Instead of waiting for games or paid gigs to get better at what I do, I've decided to incorporate a weekly cinematography practice into my life. And last week was the first video I made. You may have seen it, you may have heard of it, you may never have heard of it, and you may never have seen it. So Flatulence is the first movie in my cinematography practice segment. How this weekly cinematography practice thing works is that I sit down and I figure out an idea that I want to work with. It can be working with a one-shot, working with different type of lighting techniques, working with how I introduce a character from far away or from close up or from shooting one person at a time. It could be many different things. In this sequence with Flatulence, I saw a scene in the Nosferatu movie that really inspired me. It was where they filmed one of the characters in a giant wide in this big loft. It was this creepy, naked old man character. It was so hard to see his face, and it created this eerie, mysterious, weird feeling in me that I really liked. And I was like, oh, it's so nice that they don't jump into the close-up yet, because I want to kind of keep the mystery of what the close-up looks like. I wanted to play around with this idea. But I'm also a writer. So if I'm going to play around with a cinematography idea, I also want to write a little scene for it. And if I'm going to write a little scene for it, I might as well make it a little silly, so it's also fun. In this case, I wanted to play around with the idea of introducing a character in a big wide and take my time before revealing the close-up of the character. Narratively, I wanted to figure out, why am I doing this? Is there a narrative reason for using this particular camera angle to introduce a character? And in Flatulence, my character sits alone in the living room. We start with this big wide on him all the way in the back of the living room, sitting eating a bowl of Cheerios, and then he lets out a fart. And clearly, by judging his body language, you can see that the fart doesn't smell very nice. And he doesn't have a lot of time to open a window or light a match before his girlfriend comes home. She comes in, we're at a close-up on her, and we're still hanging on this giant wide on him. And the reason for that, narratively, is because he doesn't want her to come any closer, which he literally says in the dialogue.
Okay.
Don't come any closer.
Why?
So he's keeping her at bay because of the horrible smell, and also us as an audience. Hopefully the audience will feel that they're also being kept away from this disgusting fart.
What's that smell?
Until, of course, she starts to smell it, and then we jump into the close-up, and we're as close to the fart as as she is at this point. I told you to stay away. Really? That's a bit dramatic, isn't it? It's just a fart.
Did someone crawl inside you and die?
So yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to play around with. So for those nerds out there who want to know the technical aspects, I shot the wide of my character with a 20mm lens, and I had as much distance as the living room would allow me to have. 20 is pretty wide, and it got the job done in the way I wanted it. I also noticed if I had done it again, I would have liked to have a bigger room, and I would have liked to have a bit more separation from my character in the background, just to create a nicer shot. For what I was trying to accomplish, this worked out pretty well, I would say. For the close-ups on the female character, Bergie, and myself at the end, I wanted to use a 35mm lens, because it is the most normal focal length, and I wanted Bergie's character to be the normal person in this scene. And also I wanted the audience to feel like they're close to Bergie because we are kind of relating to her sense of smell. And in a way, we're kind of experiencing what she's experiencing in this scene. And there's one more lens that I use, which is a 105mm macro lens. The only way to get a ultra close-up of Bergie's smelling experience was to use a macro lens to get right up in her nose so we can really smell that fart together with her. And that's what we did.
What's that smell?
Thank you very much. If you haven't seen any of my work, check out my YouTube channel at AFC Johansson, or check out my website at www.afcjohansson.com, or my Instagram, AFC Johansson. This is my first time filming this kind of director's commentary, or really just like, I wanted to talk about what I'm doing with this cinematography practice, and I thought it would be fun to try out this kind of video, talking to the camera, which I don't do a lot usually, but I think it's a fun thing to try, and I'm happy that I'm giving it a go. Thank you very much for listening. All right. Peace.